What's up, fellas? Welcome back to Loadout EDC. Why is everyone hating on Leatherman? Well, before I get into this video, let me just ask you one thing. If you like what you're seeing, you like the content that I provide, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It means a lot more than you think. Quick pause. Before I get into this video, I just got to get something off of my chest. I've been getting a lot of backlash on my initial thoughts on the Leatherman Wave Alpha, so I'm coming back to say that I am not sorry for feeling the way that I felt after opening a $215 product that felt very underwhelming at first glance. The tool was very stiff out of the box, unlike Leatherman's premium feel to the Arc, which is USA made. And I give a lot of credit to Leatherman's engineering. It is fantastic. Their original designs are wonderful, and I'm here for that, which is why I was so excited to receive my Wave Alpha just to get let down. I was excited to prove all of the haters wrong, and unfortunately, I can kind of see where some of them are coming from. However, after a few days of use, it has grown on me a little bit. The large scissors on the outside is huge for me. The quick action on the knife, once broken in, is great. One-handed operation of all outside tools is also great, but I still have my reservations. The pocket clip, which is not included, is very loose, and the fact that I had to pay an extra $15 to be disappointed was a pretty big letdown for me. The inside tools are very tight and the liner locks are just not as easy to access as the original Wave Plus. It's not a bad tool. I bet it will grow on me over time. I just feel like there's much greater value out of the Leatherman Arc and Wave Plus than the Wave Alpha. So again, not sorry. So here's what's going on with Leatherman. Prices of their tools have increased. Their quality may have decreased. And with their packaging, they're pretty much providing you the bare bones. You're getting the multi-tool, no sheath. In the Leatherman Arc, you had a whole set of bits that the Arc came with for the replaceable bit driver. That is no longer a thing. Pretty much what you get in the packaging is the box and the tool. It's pissing off a lot of people. Personally, not a huge deal to me. I really only care about the tool, and honestly, I pretty much pocket every multi-tool that I have. There's really not any multi-tool that I'm willing to carry that won't go in my own pocket, so that's not a big deal to me. So now with the whole Wave Alpha ordeal, I was really excited for this tool. I actually wrote a lot of good things about this before it showed up at my front door, and I wondered, what are all of these issues that everyone has with the Alpha? I had to try it out myself. One thing is price. It's a $200 tool, and for that price, Magna cut steel. So some people can justify, and some people would honestly rather not have that Magna cut steel. They would rather spend less money with a blade that they can just sharpen often. They can beat on it. They don't have to worry about it. It is expensive. Magna cut's expensive steel. So another issue is the serrated blade, the Wave Plus. It used to have a serrated blade, and a lot of Leatherman Wave fans like the serrated blade on the Wave. I get it. It's also in the Surge with the gut hook. So to make an upgraded multi-tool such as the Wave Alpha, you would think that they'd keep the serrated blade as well as add the gut hook that's in the Charge. Why did they remove that? Why did they take the serrated blade away altogether? Well, they had to make room for other tools, and they really wanted to make this a premium multi-tool. Kind of get rid of the bullshit and only add what's necessary. Well, I get that. Not everyone thinks that the serrated blade is necessary. If you want that, get the tool that has that. I understand that. So everyone's issues with the Alpha. Another big complaint is the scissors on the outside of the tool being these large scissors. They're saying they're responding to their fans. The fans wanted the scissors. I want scissors, but I was excited about that. Why would you want to hate on the scissors? It's the biggest scissors in a multi-tool from Leatherman. It's plastic. Well, no, it's G10. G10 has fibers that make it very strong and durable. It's very comfortable as well, but it does kind of feel a little plasticky. It feels a little cheap, kind of Chinese made to me. Now, another issue is people are complaining about there being pinch points. That personally, I have not experienced. I cannot say. I mean, yes, there are pinch points in this tool. If you put your finger in the Wave Plus, you will get a pinch point here. There's also pinch points here. Same thing. I mean, it's pretty much relatively the same. I'm not feeling any pinch points on the drop, any bite there. No issues. The next issue is discontinuing the Charge. The Leatherman Charge was a big multi-tool for the community, and that has now been replaced essentially by the Wave Alpha. I don't think it's a solid replacement. I also don't have a charge, so I can't really speak to that. Another problem, the thumb studs. They get in the way of your cutting motion and your sharpening. See where that thumb stud is versus the realistic cutting edge of the blade? It is very high up. Personally, it doesn't bother me. I'd honestly rather have a nice little flick out of this knife, easy to deploy. It makes me feel like I don't need to carry a separate pocket knife. I really do like that fast deployment of the Wave Alpha. That's something that I don't get out of my Leatherman Arc. I thought I might be able to get that to work. Every once in a while I might be able to get a little flick, but not really. You don't get that in any other Leatherman multi-tools that I have used. So personally, I really do like that they have the included thumb stud and they've given that technology to be able to flip the blade open like that. Another thing, it doesn't come with a sheath. It doesn't come with a pocket clip. So now if you want a sheath and you want a pocket clip, you're basically spending Leatherman Arc prices. Do you really want to do that whenever the Leatherman Arc is better? I would just stick with the Leatherman Arc at that point. So I ended up going with this. I got a pocket clip for it as well. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Last point that I have noticed from the haters is no ruler. That is kind of a big deal. Like, I feel like it could have been done. My reasoning is because it's G10. Maybe hard to get the scaling correctly. Max Level EDC mentioned something about closing, but I feel like that is still doable to put a ruler right there. At least like a 3-inch and a 3-inch. I don't know. I don't really use the scales on the Leatherman Wave Plus, but it definitely could come in handy if I needed it. I always have some sort of scale or ruler if I do ever need it. There's never been a situation where I wish I would have been able to use the scale or ruler on the Wave Plus. You want to know my issue with Leatherman? It took forever to ship my Arc in the Wave. Forever. I want to say it was like at least a week. I don't know. I think they could do a little bit better on the shipping. I mean, I might have missed paying for shipping as an option, but I didn't think it was going to take that long. I was itching to get these in my hands. So the only big complaints I've really ever seen from the Leatherman Arc is the price and MagnaCut steel. If they can make the same tool set without MagnaCut and have this a little bit cheaper. Well, you're getting there with the P4 and the P2. It's pretty close. I mean, that's where the Arc ended up coming from. It evolved in the P series. But let's be real. This is a $250 multi-tool that's made in America, original engineering and design from Leatherman, MagnaCut. It's got all the tools that you need. They've done it well. They did a great job with this tool. I mean, the opening mechanism is one thing, right? That's awesome. But that's not even all of it. Like that, you can do that with other tools as well. It's the fact that you can access all these tools from the outside and they're actually practical tools. All the tools on here I think are useful. I find use in them. The hitting surface is a big deal. I mean, there's just so many great tools in here that are all accessible with one hand. They're very durable. They're high quality. They're manufactured and assembled in the United States. That's fantastic. So what do you get for the price? I've got a little chart here with the 3 tools side by side with all of their tools. The Wave Alpha being a 16-in-1 multi-tool, the Wave Plus being an 18-in-1 multi-tool, and the Arc being a 20-in-1 multi-tool. As you can see, I've highlighted all of the unique features of each multi-tool. They all come with some sort of pliers, some cutters, a saw, can opener, bottle opener, all that stuff. The file, the bit drivers, they all have that. But what's unique about each tool? Well, the reason why I highlighted the awl with the thread loop on the Wave Alpha is because it's not in the Wave Plus. So that is a bonus in the Wave Alpha. They've added the awl. And if you guys don't know anything about awls, they are actually very useful. Maybe not used as an awl, but they are such a versatile tool other than just using it for leather. Now with the Wave Alpha, you're also upgraded to the MagnaCut knife blade and the spring action large scissors that are on the outside of the tool. That's pretty much your bonuses with the Wave Alpha. Besides that, it's kind of just design. It does not come with an electrical crimper. It does not come with a ruler. It doesn't have any sort of impact surface. It doesn't have a serrated knife. So you are basically stripping tools and paying more money for it and calling it a premium tool? I don't really like that. I thought it was going to benefit me a lot more than I expected. I thought the knife was really going to win me over, which maybe it will. Maybe this will at some point change my mind. But right now, out of the box, it was not a good feeling. I was pretty disappointed. Now with the Wave Plus, you're getting a what we'll call downgraded knife steel, which is kind of what the community wants. Maybe half of the community, but it seems to be a pretty big deal. I personally like the MagnaCut. I'm willing to spend the extra money if that is the case, but it would be nice to have an option without it, maybe at a lower cost. Now this one does have the ruler, but it does not have an awl. Now with the Arc, this is my personal favorite. I've used the Wave Plus for work, for personal use, and I absolutely love it. I think it's a good staple multi-tool. And by staple, I mean it's just solid. It does the job. It has all the tools you need. They might not be one-hand accessible for all the tools, but you can open up the pliers with one hand. That's no problem. You can access the knives with one hand. Yeah, you can't access the file and the saw with one hand, but just your general tools you can get one-handed. And it's comfortable. It fits in your hand well. It's not too heavy. But the Arc, it's much more solid. It feels heavier duty, stronger, gonna hold up and last longer. You get the MagnaCut knife blade. You get the pry tool, which is basically just a flathead screwdriver, but it is a lot stronger. That is my favorite part about the Arc, is that it does have a much stronger pry tool. The impact surface is also a really big deal. It's basically like a hammer surface that you can use in a pinch. It's got the awl, that's a huge plus as well, which is now in the Wave Alpha. It has the electrical crimper, which is also in the Wave Plus, but it's not in the Wave Alpha, so I wanted to compare it in that aspect. And then it has the edge file. No ruler, no serrated knife. That's what it's missing. So what are my thoughts? I think they took the Wave Plus and the Arc and basically made a child. And the child isn't that great. It's not as tough, but for daily tasks, if you're not a tradesman, you're not a blue-collar worker, it's good for daily tasks. Not hard use, but it does the job, of course. I mean, it's a multi-tool. The scissors, that was a big deal for me. I still got to put it to a better test because my test that I did today, I did not like. I thought the scissors were lacking. I think the awl is a great addition. I really do like that they added that in the Wave Alpha. It would be nice if they had that in the Wave Plus, but it is really good that they did add that in the Alpha. You are giving up some tools in the Alpha versus the other tools, but they're not tools that I find a huge necessity. Some might argue that, but personally, I wasn't at a big loss by giving that up. I don't really use serrated blades, so that's not really a big issue to me. If you need a serrated type blade, it does have a saw, but if you really don't like that, just stick with your Wave Plus. You don't have to get the Alpha. That's what's cool about it. They're still keeping it. This is a great model that they have. I think it's very nice, comfortable. It's going to hold up. It's heavy duty. I would still put this over the Wave Alpha. I think that the Wave Plus is one of my favorite. It's starting to move down because of the Arc. I really do like the Arc. But yeah, I basically saw this as a downgraded Arc with the ergonomics of a somewhat upgraded Wave Plus. I don't know if you could really say upgraded. If they took out the MagnaCut steel and basically made this a budget-friendly Wave Plus, that would be cool. I think I would appreciate that much more. But the fact that they make it more expensive than the Wave Plus, that's a tough one. That's tough for me. So what would my ideal multi-tool be? I would take the Wave Plus, I'd get rid of the saw, and add some sort of micro cutters. If you know anything about the Next Tool Pioneer, they have these zip tie cutters, but I want them to be a flush cut wire cutter, essentially. Not like these wire cutters where the edges go over each other. I want them to be flush cut. Flush cut, zip tie, wire cutters. I'd get rid of the precision bit driver because mine is actually useless right now. And I would add precision bits to the regular bit driver. I would add additional bit storage somewhere in the tool. I really do like the large scissors, so I would have a nice pair of large scissors. I want a tough blade. I'm okay with a MagnaCut. I know some people aren't, but I do want a blade that is durable and versatile. Same pliers. I like the pliers on here. I have no complaints with those. But something that I do really want that I don't have in any of these tools are some sort of chisel. And more than just this pry tool, I want it to be a little bit sharper and a little bit wider. Something that I can actually scrape away at something and really get underneath. Well, it's tough. It's a tougher scraping edge. So it's not going to have that precision that a chisel would have. I would personally want a nice sharp and wide chisel. I want all of the tools to be one-handed opening from the outside, just like the Leatherman Arc. And that's it. That's how I would design my personal multi-tool if I could. It'd be similar to the Wave, but just with those additions. So one thing that I did between these three tools, the Arc, the Alpha, and the Plus, is a little multi-tool face-off. The best balance of tools, practicality and versatility, I picked the Arc. I thought as far as great use of tools, I think the Arc wins it there. Blade quality, I think the Alpha wins it. I really do like the Tonto blade in the Wave Alpha, so I think that wins it there. The pliers and performance, I gave to the Wave just because of their classic pliers, needle nose pliers. The ergonomics, I almost gave to the Wave Plus. I really had to think this one through, and I think I will give it to the Alpha. It is a little bit more comfortable as far as ergonomics in the hand. Ease of access with tools, easily the Arc. The one-handed opening of all the tools is fantastic. You can just use your thumb, and I can access every single tool on this multi-tool with one hand. The pocketability and portability, I would say the Arc. I would say the Arc wins it because it is a little bit thinner. It's got a very sturdy pocket clip. My only problem that I have with it is that it kind of does cut into your pockets a little bit just because of the shape and the design rather than the smoothed edges that are in the Wave Plus. But I still think I'm going to give it to the Arc because this is what I would daily carry. Value for the money. I'm going to give that one to the Wave Plus. $120 and you have a solid multi-tool that's going to treat you well. Definitely great value. Yes, this tool has been replicated, but think about it. This is the original design from Leatherman. They deserve the money for this. There are Chinese knockoffs that have done it just about the same. I have one that's from Harbor Freight. I think it's fantastic, but as far as a Leatherman product, I think this specific Wave Plus over the Arc and the Wave Alpha, value for money. The innovation, the Arc, the technology that they've put into it, the free technology with the magnets, the tools opening all from the outside one-handed. I think their technology is fantastic. They did a great job on that. Build quality. I picked the Wave Plus. Just overall, this has been true for years to be durable. It can withstand plenty of beating. I have no issue with it. The majority of the community has no issue with it. I think build quality wins with the Wave Plus. The Arc wins. The Wave Plus is second, and the Wave Alpha is third, which is weird because the Wave Alpha is the second most expensive tool. And if you add the pocket clip and a sheath, it becomes just about the most expensive tool. So that's my biggest issue with this, is that you have to buy a pocket clip. And let me just show you something about this pocket clip. This is a third-party pocket clip from Amazon. It is durable. It's sturdy. It feels just like a Leatherman manufactured pocket clip. This isn't going anywhere. This is on the Leatherman Wave Plus. The Leatherman Wave Alpha, I purchased this from Leatherman. This is a manufactured by Leatherman pocket clip with a Leatherman manufactured Wave Alpha. And look at how crappy this is. Does anybody else have issues like this with theirs? Because I can take this and I also put the Amazon one, and it still wiggles around. So it's definitely the tool, because if you swap out this pocket clip and put this on the Wave, it doesn't wiggle like the Wave Alpha. And also, why did they design this pocket clip so ugly? I mean, I heard some hate on this thing, but I didn't know it was going to be this chunky. Whenever I saw pictures online, I swear it was really thin, and I was wondering why people didn't like it. This is ugly. I don't like it. Especially on your pants, like if you have this hanging out of your pocket, it looks really weird. I don't like it at all. I might have to figure out a way to get an aftermarket version that looks a little bit nicer, but I do not like that. So as you can see, I now understand why everyone is hating on Leatherman. I get it. I'm experiencing it firsthand. I was not expecting this out of this multi-tool. I thought it was going to be fantastic. I was really looking forward to proving everybody wrong. Maybe time will tell, and maybe I will like this in time. But for now, I'm going to give it to the Arc. I really do like the Arc. Let me give some credit to them. I love that about the Wave Alpha. So another issue I actually have with this is that all of their tools that open from the front right here, there's not a lot of room to press that detent to close the knife and to close the tools. It is not easy for me to do, and I don't like that. It really is a little bit of a chore comparing to the Wave Plus. If you see, we're going to open these side by side, and you can see a big difference in the amount of real estate that's there to put your thumb or to put your finger to close that tool. There's not a lot in the Wave Alpha. So just so you know, Leatherman, I did have high hopes for the Wave Alpha, and I hope that eventually I'm proven wrong and I do end up really liking it. It does have features that I was looking for, so I do like that. I like the Magna Cut steel. I like the awl. And I like that there's large scissors that are accessible from the outside. I think that's a game changer because in the Wave Plus, I did use the scissors a lot, but I also used the pry tool or large screwdriver a lot. So that's where the Arc wins me over once again. One more thing that I do like is the ergonomic style and finish of this tool. It does look nice. At first, I thought it looked a little cheap, which I still kind of do feel that way. I just feel like Leatherman has cut corners and picked style over functionality, which I really don't like. I think they definitely could have done both. This is also very chunky compared to the Leatherman Wave. If you put them side by side, the Alpha is so much bulkier and you feel it in your pocket. You definitely can feel a difference between the two, which it does feel more comfortable in the hand because of that. So that's kind of understandable. If that's what you're looking for, is that comfort, then yeah, the chunkiness isn't that bad. So my overall thoughts, the design definitely trumps the functionality of this tool. The design is cool, but the functionality kind of sucks. This definitely feels a lot less robust, which is why I was going to dedicate it to just general purpose use, not anything hard, not going to take it to work, just kind of using it around the house, taking it to go, whatever. And whenever I first opened it and just gave it a little bit of grip, it kind of is harder to use now. So you have to kind of reset it and then you can get it back to how it was. But at first, yeah, if you do that, it'll get stiff on you. And this tool was really stiff out of the box. It was not broken in, that's for sure. I really had to give it some work to break in, and it's still not perfectly broken in. Overall, I think this could be a little bit cheaper of a multi-tool. I do think they overpriced it. I thought you were going to get what you paid for, but I really don't think it is that case. So if I were to recommend anything today for the price, get the Wave Plus. If you're willing to spend the extra money, skip the Alpha and just go straight to the Arc. The Arc is definitely worth the money. It feels nice. You're going to be a lot happier having this show up at your front porch than this. All right, that's a wrap for me. If you like what you saw, please leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Wave Alpha versus the Arc or the Wave Plus. Also, let me know what you think about the Charge and the Surge. I don't have those tools, so I can't really give my 2 cents comparing it to the Wave Alpha. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.